What the hell is happening on Australia?
There was news overnight, Australian police conducting a huge operation in a suburb of Sydney, only days after the terror attack in Bondi Beach nearby.
Yeah, so in Bondi Beach, for those of you that don't remember, a Muzzy and his father, also a Muzzy, they went and they blasted, they literally just fired shots into a crowd of 2,000 people, and 15 were killed, 10 of which were Jews, and essentially it seems like it was a targeted attack against a bunch of Jews that were celebrating Hanukkah. So, you know, welcome to Racism Hour!
Agents acted on new intel suggesting another possible violent plot.
Another one.
But they have not identified an immediate link to the ongoing investigation. In Sydney for us, Steve Harrigan chasing down all of these leads and joins us now. Steve, hello.
Bill, Australia's counter-terror police are in action in a very big way in the suburb of Sydney.
Great.
In heavily outfitted tactical gear, they rammed 2 vehicles, detained 7 men they say were planning a violent attack on the way here to Bondi Beach to carry out an attack, but police saying there is no connection at this point between those plans and the attack that did take place here on Sunday. In the meantime, as funerals continue for the 15th.
There is news.
So it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. So I'm going to get you all up to date. So breaking news, this just happened. Australian police rammed a vehicle near Bondi Beach and arrested 5 suspected Islamists. Authorities have not released further details, but there's speculation the group may be planning to do another terrorist attack. Right? So as you can see here, it's pretty wild. Damn. Yeah, so essentially there was a giant car ramming, as you can see. The police rammed their car into this guy, right? Because apparently this guy over here was carrying around a couple of terries. A couple of terries were going around. Now, if you want to actually understand what's going on, Sydney Mall video stirs alarm after Bondi attack, because the Islamists and the Free Palestine useful idiots have been parading around Australia celebrating the terrorist attack that killed these 10 Jews, these 15 people, on Bondi Beach. Yeah, so is anyone really shocked that this is happening? It's almost like these people are violent, and they're literally importing violent retards into their countries, and they're too afraid to actually mention the fact that, holy fucking balls, these people are not actually nice, and not necessarily super compatible with Western civilization. Now, we should have known this was happening, because this was in Sydney on October 8th, 2023, one day after October 7th. For the record, October 7th was a giant terrorist attack in Israel where 1,500 people were murdered, and 300 people were taken captive by terrorist Islamists. And this is literally the protest that they did on October 8th. Right? Yelling and screaming, gas the Jews, gas the Jews. And they're literally waving ISIS flags. That's the craziest thing. Like, next to the Palestinian flags of a fake country, they also have the ISIS flags. So that's pretty good. Anyway, so these guys are going out there yelling, gas the Jews, gas the Jews. Now, you have to understand, they will arrest you in Australia for hate speech. Right? So they arrest you if you say something Islamophobic. But apparently, screaming gas the Jews doesn't count as hate speech, even though in my opinion that's a threat of violence. I would go as far as to say that's crazy. Now, the really wild part is, these are the leftists that call everyone right-wing that's anti-immigration a Nazi. All right? So the gas the Jews guys are calling us Nazis. All right? Are we on the same page? Okay, now, are you ready for the extra twist? The extra twist on top of all of this is, it turns out the 2 Bondi Beach terrorists were literally in this gas the Jews protest. And also, the people that were involved in that car ramming were also in this protest. Every single one of those terrorists were literally here screaming gas the Jews. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Didn't see that coming. That's pretty wild. That's insane. So, you know, that's Sydney, Australia. Everyone's chanting in the streets. Literally, this is insane. So they see a group of radical Islamists and Free Palestine useful idiots following around, yelling and screaming in the streets, taking over the streets, screaming Allahu Akbar. Now, we need to ban guns. We need to ban guns, the government realized. Hold up, wait a second. We need to ban guns. Yup, absolutely. Now, I personally think that part of this problem is because you imported military-aged men from third world countries with an inbreeding rate of 65%, which creates a underdeveloped, dumb, low IQ population of violent retards that literally have in their religious texts that they want to kill you. I personally think that is potentially more of an issue, but apparently it's guns. Apparently guns are the problem, so that if something does happen, you won't be able to protect yourself, which is much more important. It's much more important to not be able to protect yourself. Now, Australian politics has been pretty wild. There have been riots and protests on both sides, because on the one hand, you have the Muzzies and the Islamic homeboys and the leftoid freak shows that support, I don't know, the gay executioners. They literally support those guys. That's on the one hand, they want the border open. On the other hand, people are realizing that their country is kind of being taken over, because essentially this entire movement over here that's running around and screaming in the streets, they're conquering the country. Little by little. They are now a dominant voting bloc. They make up almost 10% of the country. So they are an incredibly dominant voting bloc, and the politicians are starting to actually cave to these guys, bring in more of them to get their votes too. Now, a lot of people don't realize that their country is falling. They don't even see it. They're too busy fighting the far right, imaginary enemies. Now, one of these men was banned from Australia. This is the Pakistani terrorist who murdered a bunch of people on Bondi Beach. And this is someone who didn't want to get the COVID vaccine. One of these men was banned from Australia. I'll let you figure out which one all on your own. Now, this is the Prime Minister of Australia, just to prove to you how cucked this nation is and why Australia is currently, like, literally having a downfall. Australians are calling out the government, terrified. They're not terrified. Either they're going to get murdered in the street or they're going to go to prison for speech. So, like, dude, it's really scary over there. So this is what retard McGee had to say.
We take ASIO's advice very seriously. We work closely with them. We receive regular updates as well. The Director General of ASIO has warned about a range of threats, be it anti-Semitism, the rise of right-wing extremist groups.
There's so much anti-Semitism and the rise of right-wing extremists. It's the right-wing extremists and the anti-Semitism. You motherfucker, the anti-Semitism is coming from the left. It really is. Look, man, you have your right-wing guys that say that the Jews control the world and the Jews are evil and control the world and are trying to destroy society or whatever. All right, sure. Yeah, absolutely, you have those guys. I'm not saying you don't have those guys, all right? I'm not saying you don't have those guys. But the violence is all coming from the left. That's just an undeniable fact. It's an undeniable fact that the violence is all coming from the left. Because the left, A, is violent, godless heathens that want you dead if you disagree with them, communist retards, all right? So that's the left. However, the left is also voting to import radical, inbred retards to kill us. All right, so you know yeah, the left is the issue. So this dude goes on the news to immediately say right-wing violence is bad
as well, and we continue to work closely with our security agencies.
So this is one of the worst things I've ever seen. It's straight up one of the worst things ever. All right, so a bunch of Jews get murdered on a beach. A guy walks out to decide that right-wing violence is the problem. Elon Musk says he did the meme. Get ready, guys. Get ready to hear the meme.
Overwhelmingly, one of the things about this country is what they want is when people come to Australia, you leave old divisions and hatreds at the door. At the door. When you come to Australia, you are here to support our society, of which is diverse, but that diversity is a strength.
Ah, there it is.
And that is what overwhelmingly
there it is.
Australians want to see.
No, it's not overwhelmingly what Australians want to see. You just imprison everyone that disagrees with you. All right, so let's try to understand exactly what's going on. All right, I know this is going to be controversial. All right, so this guy, Mr. Albanese, dude, super hyper-cucked white man, episode 4000, decides that diversity is our greatest strength. And he says this in the speech right after a couple of Muslims decided to commit a terrorist attack and murder a bunch of Jews on a beach. Are we on the same page? Are we on the same page? This is insanity. Complete and utter insanity. What are we doing? Diversity is actually our greatest strength. I'm realizing that it's actually such a strength of ours. Now, one of the big twists that no one saw coming was that Albanese, or the Prime Minister of Australia, decided that he wanted to announce new hate speech reforms after Bondi attack. So let's get this straight. Let's get this straight. Let's understand what's going on. ISIS-inspired gunman, 24-year-old Naveed Akram, faces terrorism murder charges after the attack. You know, because he went and murdered and terrorized a whole bunch of people. Okay, all right, we're on the same page, okay? Okay. ISIS flags found in the car. In Canberra, Albanese detailed 5 reforms. An aggravated hate speech offense, tougher penalties for inciting violence, factoring hate into online threat cases, visa powers against sowing division. Monitoring will evolve e-safety commissioner over enforcement, blah, 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 more enforcement. So let's try and understand what's going on. You have radical Islamists go out there, commit a horrible terrorist attack, kill 15 people. And the reality is this dude decides what we need more is more hate speech laws, so you can't call out Muslims for killing us. That's the solution. So let's get this straight. Muslim kills 15 people. His solution, the inability to criticize Muslims. Are we on the same page? Are we on the same page? This is unbelievably cucked. This guy sucks. This guy sucks so badly. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, in Australia, they banned the Nazi salute. We banned the Nazi salute. We're cracking down on guns. What more do you want? What more do you want? I don't know, man. You want to address the elephant in the room, sir? Sir, do you want to address the elephant? I don't know, man. But this is essentially what we're doing. Now, for those of you that are unaware of why I showed this to you earlier, is because inspired by the terrorist attack on Bondi Beach, which initiated all these celebrations, counterterrorism police in Sydney rammed a vehicle off the road, arresting 5 men of Asian descent. Asian descent means Muslims. And they took no chances. And they arrested 5 more who planned another terrorist attack.
And quickly had them on the ground with their hands tied behind their back.
Yeah, Asian descent, guys.
Were then
he doesn't look Japanese to me.
Arrested. Another person was also pulled from a car and restrained by police in a nearby laneway.
What I heard was 2 bangs, and then I heard lots of sirens, especially with what happened Sunday.
It's so funny how when it's a Japanese guy, they call him Japanese. When it's a Chinese guy, they call him Chinese. When it's a Muslim from Pakistan, they say Asian. It's every single time. It's every single time. It's every single time. Oh my God.
I think most of Sydney is feeling that, even though we're in the west.
Police at this stage are saying very little, but it appears they were acting on some sort of intelligence that suggested this car had to be stopped. Response unit.
Car had to be stopped, containing 5 terrorists. Now, the crazy thing is, how do these 5 guys get together? You have 5 terrorists getting together to commit a joint terrorist attack? You don't think there's an issue in your society when you have just 5 guys, foreigners of a specific religion that probably has no influence over what they do, that are part of a specific religion, and they come and they were trying to kill you? Like, you've got to be kidding me. It's crazy. Now, this is what an Islamic preacher said in Australia.
Islam will enter every house.
This is in Australia.
Every house. Don't worry about the Islamophobes. They can yap all they want. Their children will be Muslim. It's coming in every house in every country. Today here in Australia, subhanAllah, I'm sitting here in a masjid that we have people all the way out past the second place. Look at this. Who could have imagined these many Muslims in Australia? And it's not going to stop. You can stop immigration. You can stop whatever. You can do Muslim bans. Wallahi, it's not stopping. Because the Prophet ﷺ said it will enter every house. Today, from some of the staunch,
they were stopped in the 1400s.
Enemies of Islam, preachers and pastors, you see Muslims.
Right. So it'll enter every house, no matter what you do. It doesn't matter. All your children will be Muslim. I don't know, man. Does that sound like a threat? I don't know. It doesn't sound like a threat to me. It just sounds like a prediction. So here is Muslims marching down the streets of Sydney screaming Allahu Akbar. Like, that's not threatening at all. This is wild. Dude, this is a funny TikTok I saw. So a dude went to a couple of Jews to basically, you know, insult them, right? He hit them with the anti-Semitic trope, dropped some money on the floor. Oh, look, Jews, money. Like, literally just trying to roast the guys. Now, you ready for the twist of all time? They offered him a book for free. And then they all started dancing together. Yeah, I did not see that one coming. I'll be real, this definitely surprised. Shocked the shit out of when I saw that. I was like, what? Alright, but anyway, so apparently... Anyways, that's pretty cute. So anyway, anywho, a lot of people don't even know what they're doing, but this is what nobody voted for. This is in Melbourne, Australia, by the way. Melbourne, Australia. Yep, absolutely. Did you want to go to the public park? Well, you can't, because the mosques are empty. Do you know what that smells like? Yep, It's pretty weird. Why don't they do this in mosques? They have mosques. Why do they do it in oh, it's a show of dominance. Oh, interesting. Okay. All right, I got it. The silent jihad. Well, it's just a bunch of mostly peaceful people doing what they do, being mostly peaceful. And that's pretty awesome. You love to see it. So the reality is, hates Jews, Christians, atheists, gays, dogs, bacon, wine, beer, your civilization, your culture, your traditions, your country, and you. Complains about Islamophobia. Wow, I've never seen that before. So the reality is, the invasion is televised, and people are really frustrated. After a terrible terrorist attack on Bondi Beach, 5 more people arrested for being other terrorists that they stopped before they committed a terrorist attack. The reality was that the actual Islamist retards decided to go out there and protest to support and celebrate the murderers, to celebrate the terrorists, and the leftists joined that. So what does the government do? The government decides to crack down on free speech, and start to blame guns, free speech, diversity is our strength, and far-right extremists are the problem. So this is a guy named Isaac Butterfield. He's a comedian in Australia, I'm pretty sure. I don't know him super well, but he just made a video, Australia has fallen. He's an Australian guy, and he's talking about the actual downfall of Australia, which is something that's happening throughout the West. But I'm excited to see what he has to say.
A 12-year-old girl, a rabbi who had a 2-month-old baby, and a Holocaust survivor are all now dead, amongst 15 other people taken on the beach in Australia, Bondi Beach, one of the most famous places in Australia. A packed beach, 2 gunmen opened fire in not the middle of the day, but in the middle of peak hour, if you will, on a warm
evening, early evening, which is, by the way, when Jews celebrate Hanukkah. Wow, maybe it's a coincidence. Wow. A lot of people don't know how this works, man. Like October 7th, the terrorist attack, that was also on a Jewish holiday. The Yom Kippur War in Israel, well, that was on Yom Kippur, a Jewish holiday. They know when the Jewish holidays are, and that's when they attack every single time. It's almost like it's a holy war or something. That'd be crazy.
Sunday afternoon in
Dude,
Australia.
You know the more frustrating than watching this happen? It's watching the silence. It's watching everyone be absolutely silent about this. It's watching the entire world just decide, you know what? We're not going to notice. We're not going to notice that this is a worldwide problem. Like, it's so frustrating, man. It's wild. It's wild.
And we as a country are just in shock at this point. People are so... Like, I'm sad, obviously. I feel terrible for all the families. But I'm so angry, too.
It's so wild because, like, Australians, they don't know... Like, why should this even be in their country? Like, why should this be there? It's so shocking and jarring to these people because it has... There's literally no reason. There is no reason for this to be here. Someone just sent me this clip. Oh my God, what's this? Tucker Carlson? Was this from yesterday? Oh, this was just from a few hours ago.
Most people agree with that. Most Americans have more in common with each other than they disagree on. And almost everybody agrees on that. And almost everybody is willing to tolerate a good faith argument about how to get there.
True.
Except a few, and they're the ones running around calling everyone an anti-Semite. But everyone else, of course, that should be the debate.
Oh my God.
And they'll vote for you. They want that.
Everyone is friendly with everyone except for the Jews. Bro, what are we doing? What is happening?
Because they know they haven't had that. That's the fact. And what you're watching now, attacking millions of Americans because they're Muslims, it's disgusting. And I'm a Christian. I'm not a Muslim. I know there's a lot of effort to claim I'm a secret jihadi. I'm not. You should not attack people on those grounds. And you're seeing it from Republicans. What the hell are you doing? What you're doing is trying to divide the country. And I've lived through 50 years of this crap. All these fake race wars that they're always promoting.
Bro, you were on Fox News. You were promoting the race wars. Wait, what do you mean?
Oh, go hate each other while we loot the treasury. That's exactly what's going on. And most people are totally sick of that. So, yes, there is a possibility for a huge coalition of decent people once they free their minds from the traps set for them by others and realize, wait a second, we all want to make this country better. And the 15% or 30%...
Yeah, and, you know, the reality is I think that mass immigration of Muslims has been known historically to make countries better. That's just a fact. I'm really glad we're able to look at England now and realize that England is so much better now than it ever was, now that it's 10% Muslim. Yeah, true. Yeah, he makes a good point. He makes a really good point. Damn, I didn't look at it from that perspective. But now that he mentioned that importing infinite inbred retards is good, now I changed my opinion. Now, again, I personally don't hate Muslims either on an individual level. I don't. I do think the mass immigration of third world countries is a nightmare. but for some reason he doesn't. For some reason he thinks that, yeah, we all have the same ideology. We don't have the same ideology. Are you insane? If you actually follow, like, actual serious Islamic doctrine, they want to conquer the world. They literally say that without even, like, shuddering, without even hesitating. I don't know, man. Anyway, so a lot of people in Australia, they don't even know what they're dealing with. To be honest, a lot of people in the West don't know what they're dealing with. I think one of the only reasons why I'm actually doing this is because, you know, I've been to Israel during terrorist attacks. I've lost family members to Islamic terrorists. So I think that's probably why I, more than a lot of people, realize the threat of mass immigration. But now I guess other people slowly wake up.
Like, these guys who did this, and I'm going to get into this, and this video is going to be a little bit all over the shop, so I ask you to stick with us.
Yeah, the Australians are losing the government. They're so tired of this.
Throughout the entire thing. But these two grubs, these two awful, evil, vile people, they weren't from Australia, and they came here and decided to bring sheer violence and terror to the streets of Sydney. That is not our country. And if you can't wrap your head around that, coming into this country to leave that bullshit in your hellhole of a country, then don't fucking come.
True!
And this is the worst part of this. There's so many good people from all different parts of the world that come to this country and they don't bring that shit. So don't be mad at me for saying don't fucking come. Okay? Be mad at these pieces of shit for making it harder for people from those countries to feel welcome in this country because they carry on like fucking monsters. If you don't know what happened yesterday, the 14th of December, around 6:47 Sydney time, a mass shooting occurred at Bondi Beach in Australia.
Dude, he's tired. Look at him. He's so tired. He has the fatigue. He has the fatigue, baby. He is tired as fuck. Dude, I'm telling you, man, people are waking up. And I love everyone's like just people. It's not just people, all right? It's specifically third world invaders and largely from specific religions, or one specific religion specifically. It's pretty weird. It's pretty weird how they destabilize their own countries and then literally bring you in. And they'll bring them in. It's tiring, man. It's tiring, dude.
And as I said, massive.
No, but this is radicalizing people. It really is. Every one of these attacks radicalizes more people. Because the reality is the media is doing their absolute best to teach you that all cultures are equal and that all people are the same and that all perspectives are the same and that everyone has the same value system. We don't have the same value system. I don't share a value system with someone that thinks that if they die a martyr killing Jews or Christians, then they go to heaven. I do not share that value system with radical Islamists. I don't. And to be honest, I don't share their value system. I don't share their culture. And my IQ is about 40 points higher than the average guy from Pakistan. So listen. No, more than 40. Holy shit. Wait. I didn't do the math right. It's more like 50, 60 points higher. Fuck. But the reality is, dude, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say this, but there's a bigger, okay, so chimpanzees have an average IQ of 45, okay? Somalians have an average IQ of 67. There is a bigger gap between my IQ and the average Somalian than between Somalians and chimps. This is just facts. I'm just saying facts. I'm literally just saying facts. I'm like, this isn't racist. This is literally actual numbers, all right? So I'm just saying.
Tourist attraction, it's always packed. It's about 2 hours from me. And so that for me, it was like, it's so close to home. This attack targeted the Hanukkah, I've always called it Hanukkah, but Hanukkah celebration called Hanukkah.
It's actually Hanukkah. Say it like you're trying to clear your throat of phlegm. Hanukkah. All right, but you did it good. You did good, though.
Hanukkah, I've always called it Hanukkah celebration called Chanaka by the Sea.
Chanaka by the Sea? Hanukkah by the Sea. It's called Hanukkah. Anyway, Chanaka. Bro, that's diabolical. Chanaka.
By the Chabad of
Chabad. CH makes a ch sound in Hebrew. Okay, it's ch. All right. Oh my God, dude.
Bondi, drawing hundreds and hundreds of people.
So the Chabad, for the record, is it's basically an organization that just it has like little outposts everywhere in the world that makes sure that there's like kosher food and a place for Jewish travelers to pray and stuff like that. It's kind of all over the place. It's just a super, like, it's kind of a wholesome movement. It really is.
There were people sitting everywhere. It was almost like a market stall. People were serving food and they were sitting in seats and sitting around and seeing each other and friends and family.
Donuts are a staple. It's true. It's the one Jewish holiday where everyone eats donuts. which is pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie.
And people, all of the Jewish religion in that particular area. Now, 15 of those people are dead. 16 people were killed. One of the gunmen was killed, and good. And I also saw someone stomp on his head after he was dead. A child is also amongst the injured. I believe that was a 12-year-old girl, around 38 to 40.
All right, dude, I have so many people asking me about the donuts now. So the lore here is Hanukkah is celebrating the fact that, despite the fact that an overwhelmingly large Greek force attacked the Jewish people back in the day, and the Jews managed to win a victory despite overwhelming odds against them. After this all took place, they found a little vial of oil, and the vial of oil was only enough oil to last for a day, but the miracle is, as the legend states, that the oil lasted for 8 days instead of 1 day, which is why the Hanukkah celebration is 8 days long. And every day, you light a little oil candle on the menorah, which is like the little candlestick thing with the 8 prongs. So oil, being a central theme of the holiday, means that all the food is deep fried. That's right, deep fried food for 8 days. That's donuts, baby. Donuts are goated. All right, so that's how it happened. Oil, deep fried in oil food is a part of the Hanukkah celebration right now. All right, so it is honestly, all the kids love Hanukkah, obviously, because donuts.
People are injured, possibly.
It's like, bro, you walk around. All right, I'm sorry, this is like a random fact, but you walk around, you'll have like these donut shops with like 1,000 different kinds of donuts. All right, with all sorts of different toppings, some with jelly in it, some with custard, some with chocolate, tons of donuts, all deep fried and incredibly unhealthy. And that's what it's all about. What about the Hanukkah money that people... so there's another part of Hanukkah where, people give each other, like, gifts. It's called Hanukkah money, where they give them as, like, a present or whatever. And I'm pretty sure that comes from Christmas, because people give, like, kids presents on Christmas. So I think Hanukkah adopted that from Christmas, in my opinion, because that doesn't have, like, any, like, old-standing tradition. That's just something that we do now. And what was the other thing that you asked? Oh, and dreidel. So the dreidel was because during the Greek invasion, essentially the Greeks forbid the Jews from studying Torah, from actually studying the Bible. Because they were a polytheistic religion, pagans, and they refused, they didn't let the Jews study the Bible. So essentially they put a ban on it, and they would execute anyone that did that. So the Jews, obviously, people that have always been known to always follow along with what people tell them to do, still studied the Bible, and every single time people would try to would come up to Jews that were studying, they would quickly hide the Bibles, and they would spin tops, the dreidels, like the Jewish Beyblades, they would spin those tops, and they'd be like, oh, they're just spinning tops, they're not actually studying, the Torah or whatever, they're just spinning tops, they're not doing anything nefarious, and they would leave, and that essentially was it. So that's what the dreidel is. But anywho, that's the lore. That's the lore for the holiday. And classically, on this holiday, there have been multiple terrorist attacks against Jews throughout the world. There was this Bondi Beach shooting. There was the shooting in Brown University in Rhode Island, where the teacher in the classroom was a Jewish teacher and presumably a target to an Islamic style terrorist attack. In Brown University, there was a Jewish nuclear physicist that was just murdered. There were shots fired at Jews in LA from Free Palestine retards. There was it doesn't stop. It's a nightmare. It's been a really, really rough week. There was a Jew stabbed in Crown Heights in Brooklyn, New York. A Jew that was strangled on a subway. Thank God he's okay. On a subway in New York. Like, it's been wild. And this has all been over Hanukkah this week. Specifically from largely Islamic-style terrorist attacks throughout the Western world. It's really wild. It's wild that we're living in this timeline.
More including to police officers. And I think it is important at this point to acknowledge the police officers who do an impossible job every single day. Yeah. And I saw 2 or 3 photos, I think, of young female police officers who usually would be walking around Bondi Beach if they're stationed there, because the police station is just around the corner, which I don't know why there wasn't more.
What? I'm really happy we're watching the Australian crash out here. What? There's a police station around the corner of the shooting, and it took them 20 minutes to subdue the shooters? You're joking. Like, I saw the pictures of the female police officers just shaking, freezing up, and not actually doing anything. I saw that, but I didn't know that.
More cops there at the time, or quicker. I guess maybe not all police are at the station, that type of thing. But anyway, a lot of people are really hammering these young women who look like they've probably been on the beat for fucking 5 minutes. One lady had her hands up in the air, looking like she was surrendering. I don't know if that's accurate. That could have been anything. She could have been calling for help. Who the fuck knows? Another of a
Well, I'll tell you one thing she wasn't doing. She wasn't shooting the fucking terrorist.
Female officer hiding behind a car, which, you know, you take cover, obviously, in these situations. And also, these guys aren't...
Cope.
They're not familiar with this type of shit in Australia. This is our biggest mass...
Yeah. This is waking up the world. It's literally waking everyone up.
Event like this since Port Arthur in 1996, where Martin Bryant, a single one shooter, killed, I think, 35 people. And after that, everyone had their guns taken off them. Massive law reform was...
Dude, it's crazy how the government is so quick to impose their authoritarian bullshit. The moment a tragedy strikes. Tragedy strikes, ban all the police. Ban all the guns. Ban all the guns? Who's gonna protect me? The police that did nothing? What a nightmare. What an actual nightmare. Dude, you have to wake up faster before this becomes a full-blown invasion. And they're still importing more people.
Houston, you could only get a gun if you had passed all these checks and balances. And, well, apparently this fucking cocksucker he got a gun. The Sadiq Akram, he got a gun, the 50-year-old. And this is the craziest thing. This was this morning. So I've been waiting all day to make this video to be able to post it with all the relevant information. Father and son.
Yeah.
They are the terrorists who did this.
Bro, you're bringing people... Okay, I'm sorry, man. What if the problem is the religion? Is the radical participants of the religion? Have you considered that? I love how no one wants to go there. Literally no one wants to go there. Hello? This is an ISIS terrorist-tied shooting from a Pakistani family event where, by the way, the mother of the shooter came out in defense saying he was a good boy. Good boy? Are you crazy? Well, don't worry, guys, because Tucker Carlson wouldn't call him out. Tucker Carlson would support him, too. So that's fair. No, I'm not joking.
Went on a drug-related murder spree. I would not denounce him. If my brother went on a drug-related murder spree, I would not denounce him. What? Are you for drug-related murder sprees? No, I'm for my brother.
Well, that mom is for his daughter. For his son. For her son. Whatever the fuck. That family's sticking together, too. What are we doing? I would. If my brother was on a murder spree, I would fucking kill him. What are you talking about?
Father and son. Now, one of the things that I thought about last night when this happened, and the craziest thing about this is on X, on Twitter, you saw this updating before anyone else.
Yeah. They don't want you to know about this. See, that's what I mean by Elon Musk buying Twitter might have saved the West. We can actually talk about this now. But before, this would have literally been stifled. Oh, it was an accident. It was just a mentally ill guy that did some shooting.
I was looking on Twitter and I was watching, people getting resuscitated or resuscitation attempts, CPR, bleeding out, dead on the ground. And then I put my son to bed and then I went out and my wife and I, we put on the TV and they were reporting like those things just happened. It just goes to show that the internet and social media is it is the birthplace of news. If you want real-time news action, that's where you go. You go to social media. But one of the things that went through my mind last night was, what type of mindset are these two monsters in?
I wonder the mindset. What possible mindset could there be for a bunch of guys that were in a protest saying, gas the Jews, to go shoot a couple of Jews?
A father and a son. Just picture your own environment with your dad. Like, imagine what happens in your...
I wonder what the mindset was of the Muslims that were just arrested in Berlin that tried to ram their car into a Christmas celebration. I wonder what they were doing. I wonder what the mindset was there, guys. Any of you guys have any guesses, any ideas what the mindset was? I personally, I'm lost. I don't know, man. I don't know. I obviously don't know. This is a video of an Iranian woman who made a video about this Bondi Beach shooting.
Iranian here with another pro tip for anyone who's not from the Middle East. If you have to put up barricades around your Christmas markets or cancel them due to threats of terrorism, that's not multiculturalism and diversity. That's jihad. This past weekend in Germany, 5 Muslim immigrants were arrested by German police because they were planning on driving a car into a Christmas market. 3 Moroccans, an Egyptian, and a Syrian were planning on murdering Christians at a Christmas market. for the crime of being Christian. And for those of you who are constantly believing this jihadi propaganda that all these Islamic terrorist attacks have to do with Israel, a Christmas market attended by Christians in Germany has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on in Israel. What starts with the Jews never ends with the Jews. And if you think this is only about Israel, you need to wake up, because they're already targeting Christians and you might be next. Maybe it's time to stop importing people into your countries who hate you and want to destroy everything about you and murder you just because you're not Muslim.
Pretty weird, huh?
Tolerating Islamic terrorism and jihad is not multiculturalism and diversity. It's suicide.
Yeah.
And now you know.
Yeah. Well, a lot of us know. Not enough people know, but a lot of us do know. They're just misunderstood, guys. They're just misunderstood. I think the Palestine movement has been literally such a godsend for these retards. Like, literally, they've used the death of these Palestinian children, and they have stood on their corpses in order to create a giant Trojan horse to destroy Western civilization. And they use that as an excuse to radicalize, Westerners and to commit acts of terrorism.
Your home. What type of horrific horrors are you announcing to each other every single day? What type of algorithm are you caught up in? What type of world do you exist in?
I love how they're like, algorithm. Dude, these guys weren't trapped in an algorithm. What are you talking about? Their local preacher was talking about how they needed to do this. They were literally in public riots screaming, "Gas the Jews." Like, this isn't TikTok.
When you are in the mindset of going to the beach and taking, as many lives as you could, and
I
what?
tell you, man, your average guy in the West just cannot compute. They can't understand. They can't understand this mindset. It's so sad, because I see a lot of really smart people falling into this trap where, like, they're smart, intelligent people, but they think that other people think the same way as them. They don't realize that someone else really does not have the same value system as you. Right? You have respect for human lives. Well, someone else might think that murdering them is actually God's will. It's pretty crazy.
Watching that video of him reloading that single bolt action rifle or whatever it was, a hunting rifle. Like, man, he is just ripping through that magazine. That is crazy shit. That is, like, he looked military trained. So apparently they were the dad's weapons. Sajid Akram and Navid Akram, 50 and 24 years old. They also found explosives at the scene and an ISIS flag at the scene.
Pretty weird, huh?
Now listen, I don't have a problem with Muslim people. There's a lot of Muslim people in this country. There's a lot of Muslim people.
The ones that don't practice their religion to the extreme, those guys are great. Those guys are awesome. But the ones that do practice their religion to the extreme are dangerous and want the destruction of the West.
People all over the world, and the vast majority of them are not violent people.
Yeah, but the vast majority, true, I agree. I think the vast majority are not violent people. Let's say only 20% are violent. All right, that's a minority. Only 20% of 2.5 billion people are violent. And we are importing them illegally and legally without vetting just into our countries. Hello? Oh, okay, all right, I'm really glad we're on the same page.
But for Muslim people, when you have people upset at Islam, you shouldn't be mad at those people who are upset. You should be mad at the fucking retards who are doing these horrible crimes, doing these horrible acts against humanity. That's who you should be mad at, and you should attack them. You should, anyway.
Nux, moderate Islam covers for them? Yeah, for sure. They're not violent. I said violent. All right, I'm not talking about covering. I'm not covering. And not every moderate covers for them. No. I'm saying it the way it is. Let's say 20% are violent. And let's say another 40% will run defense for those 20%, because really they kind of believe it, they just don't want to do it. Let's say, all right, let's say 40% really want to come and assimilate and become wonderful members of Western civilization. I'm just making up numbers here because there is obviously no stats to something like this. Maybe we should not be importing millions of people from these countries. Maybe we shouldn't do that.
It's just fucked. It's just so fucked. And I need to be careful of what I say in this video. I know that
they would put you in jail. I'm pretty sure he was literally arrested for speech purposes in the past.
The safety commissioner is ready to censor everyone to save us all. But what the fuck is going on in this country? What happened to Australia? The lucky country, the safe country? What the fuck happened? Yeah. The amount of division, the amount of hatred that seems to exist in this country, the amount of crime, and a lot of it is being perpetrated from people who happen to come from countries where these crimes are rampant.
You mean to tell me that in a country where rape happens all the time, if you import people from them, it'll make more rape happen in your countries? What? No! Color me shocked and surprised. Color me all sorts of colors. Wow, that's crazy. Pin a tail on me and call me an elephant in the room, because that's fucking crazy. You mean to tell me if you import cousin fucking rapist, inbred, violent retards, they might make your country worse? Wow.
Okay, and I'm saying this all in the most polite way possible.
Yeah, right.
And if you're a brown person,
like, dude, I can't criticize him for like not going hard enough, because if he goes harder, he will literally go to jail. Oh my fucking god, dude, we're so cucked. I'm telling you, man, this feminization of the West, we are literally killing ourselves.
From anywhere in the Middle East, if you're a Muslim from anywhere in the Middle East, if you're a black person from anywhere in the Middle East, or if you're a white person from anywhere in the Middle East, I am not talking shit about you, but I think that something needs to be done where we look at countries that are full of crime, that are full of horrible attacks, that are full of division based on religion, usually, and say, guys, either...
Yeah, sometimes it's based on religion. Sometimes it's not.
No one's coming in.
You want to hear an interesting statistic? I know this is going to make you excited. All right, so everyone loves when I whip out the stats. Did you know that statistically, people that come from parents that are cousins that get married, all right, so people that come from inbred births, have a 4 times likelihood of being A, retarded, and B, violent. Want to hear another funny fact? Did you know that 65% of Pakistan is inbred? 65% of Pakistan, 65%. So that means Pakistanis genetically have an over 3-time chance of being violent retards. All right, are we on the same page? They also have nukes, which is a story for another day. And that's why, honestly, I know that this is going to sound diabolical. That's why India's goated. Because currently India and Pakistan are beefing, and they've been beefing for a long time. And India is, in my opinion, an ally of ours in this regard. I'm not saying I want to import infinite Indians. However, the fact that India and Pakistan hate each other is definitely good for us. But yeah, that's where we're at.
Or we need to go through every single person with a fine-tooth comb. No more ISIS brides coming home, chanting at the airport. No more of that shit. We need to protect the people that live here. And by that, I mean every single person that lives here, that was born here. There are so many different types of people born in this country. All different colors, all different ethnicities, religions. They need to be protected. Yeah. It wasn't just Jews on the beach last night. It was Christians, Catholics, white people, brown people, Hindus, fucking everyone, mate. Every single type of person goes to that beach. Yeah. They interviewed on the news last night. They interviewed like 6 or 7 different people. I think one of them was Australian. There was a French dude, there was a Canadian guy, an American guy. I think there was an Irish girl. There was a guy from Sudan, I think, as well. All different types of people, all being shot at by these violent extremists. The hatred for Jews in Australia is at an all-time high. You may remember that I got cancelled for a joke about the Holocaust back in 2018. Man,
good times.
Shit that people...
I personally, that's why I hate these Western governments, like these liberal governments. They'll arrest you for making a joke about the Holocaust, but they will openly endorse, actual pro-terrorist rallies. What are we doing, man? What are we doing? Absolute insanity. Crazy world.
And it was a joke. I don't fucking mean it. The shit that people say now, and I'm talking about all the lefties, all the woke people, all the people that are going out there right now putting on their Instagram stories, pray for Bondi. They were the ones who were chanting in the streets and all this type of shit.
Dude, Australians are tired, man.
Hilarious, really. But there has been a dramatic rise in anti-Semitic hate in Australia. And I think if you hate the Jews because of what Israel is or has done with the Palestinian people, I think that is just such a waste of time.
It's also an excuse. It's also literally an excuse. No one actually cares about the Palestinian people. It's one of the biggest psyops, I think, in the history of propaganda. This Palestine movement is completely and utterly based on fake reality. And it's literally just done to destroy the West. Obviously, they don't like Jews, but it's to destroy the entire West. That's literally the goal, because the West, supports Israel, because, Israel was attacked by radical Islamist terrorists, and they took hostages, and Israel fought to get their hostages back, which they mostly got back, and they tried to eradicate Hamas, a terrorist organization. And I'll be honest, if this happened to any other country, I would fully support them doing what needs to be done. You want to hear the best analogy of all time? If Mexico decided one day, you know what? fuck America, I hate America, Texas is ours. And they decided to launch an attack on Texas and kill 40,000 Texans and take another 10,000 Texans hostage into Mexico. All right, and it was the cartel that did it, okay? It wasn't even the people. It was the cartel that did it. And America decided, we're gonna bomb the fuck out of the cartel and get our people back. I would fully support America doing that. And if the cartel decides to hide behind human shields that voted them into power, I would say, I'm sorry, that really sucks. Collateral damage is awful. War is bad, but we need to get our people back. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm really tired of this. It's so unbelievably cringe that we need to do this. Like, we're playing such an uneven game where the propaganda machine of, I don't know, 2.5 billion Muslims are just literally echoing this forever, everywhere. Echoing this propaganda that the Palestinians are actually the victims when they started the war. And they're losing the war that they started. And every single war is a war that they started. All the wars since Israel was established was a war started by Palestinians. Have you ever wondered why they're not taking Palestinians into any neighboring countries around Israel? Like, there's this whole war, there are all these refugees. Why wouldn't they take them anywhere? Why didn't Egypt take them? Or Jordan? Or Lebanon? Other surrounding neighboring countries. Why didn't they take them? Well, we know why. It's because they took them into Jordan and they started a civil war. And they took them into Lebanon and they couped and assassinated the king. And then they took them into Egypt and they started doing terrorist attacks. So Egypt gassed them. Literally flooded their tunnels with gas to kill them. So the reality is, no one wants them, and they are not, like, just unfortunately getting constantly attacked. They start this shit for the most part, and it's really tiring. It's really tiring watching this fake propaganda campaign over a pretendicide that's happening in the Middle East when there are real genocides happening throughout the world, largely perpetrated by Islamic extremists. Like in Sudan, like in Yemen, like in Syria, like in all these places, all these shitholes, like in Nigeria. But no one cares about, like in Turkey, no one cares about any of that. None of that actually matters. The real genocides don't matter. Doesn't matter if the Armenians get genocided, or if it's a genocide against the Yazidis, a genocide against the Druze, genocide against the Christians. None of that matters. They don't care about any of that. However, this Palestine movement became massive, echoed throughout the world as, in my opinion, a way to topple Western civilization. And it's literally just an excuse. It's literally just an excuse for them to jihad. And it's really obvious. So yeah, them going to a beach and shooting a couple of guys and blaming Israel is mega retarded. So let me get this straight. Because of what Israel's doing in the Middle East, you're allowed to go to a beach and murder a couple of people, right? But because Muslims are murdering people, you're not allowed to hate Muslims. Like, it's such a wild double standard, it's insane. And in my opinion, it's because the leftoid media is infatuated with this. Like, absolutely infatuated with this entire movement. I don't know if any of you saw this. This was a super, super duper mega ultra viral post that this was literally everywhere. I'm trying to find it. All right, here it is. 5 million views, 170,000 likes. Groundbreaking new study finds Islamophobia may be partially caused by Muslims killing people all the time. Yeah, groundbreaking new study, ladies and gentlemen. Groundbreaking study. We're trying to piece this together.
You're going to blame a Jewish banker from New York for an atrocity that happens in a Gazan hospital? That's ridiculous. So why go and shoot a bunch of fucking Jewish people? There has been an enormous amount of really anti-Jewish sentiments and attacks in this country already, particularly after October 7th in 2023, after what happened in Israel. To name a few, we're talking about bomb threats. We're talking about this clip from the Opera House.
But they weren't arrested for hate speech. Unlike the guy that made a joke about the Holocaust.
Heaps of graffiti, buildings being torched because they thought they were Jewish owned.
Yeah, I remember that.
Swastikas being drawn, more arson attacks, more threats, marches, attempted arson. A Jewish childcare centre is set alight and vandalised. 2 nurses, you remember this, from the start of this year, were suspended and after proudly declaring on TikTok that they would murder Jewish patients. And then it leads to what happened yesterday. And these men, these evil, vile grubs, they were Muslim extremists. And again, this is not an attack on Muslims. This is an attack on extremist Muslims who follow their religious texts to the fucking nth degree. And unfortunately, if you're...
You mean who follow their religious texts?
From a part of the world where extremism is constant and concurrent and happening all the time, if you want to come to this country, you need to go under a fine-tooth comb. We need to go through everything. And that may seem like it's unfair, but you know what else seems unfair? Being shot at the fucking beach.
Yeah, that sounds bad.
On that topic. If you're already here and you're chanting about gassing the Jews or killing anyone, fuck off. Fuck off. You are not welcome in our country. I don't care if you were born here. Fuck off. Deport bad people. That's the fucking moral of this story. We need to get on top of this shit. If you're going to come to this country, you need to be a good person, a good family person, and be ready to assimilate into Australian culture. What's Australian?
Dude, someone just sent this to me. Apparently, God Saad, we all know him. I've shown him before. He's hilarious, in my opinion. He was just on Fox News talking about this.
It's unbelievable. You know, as you know, Jesse, I've been warning about this for several decades. Let's draw an analogy. Suppose you get married and there's diversity of thought in terms about being monogamous. You want to have sex with as many women as possible, whereas your wife thinks that it's a good idea to be only true to one person. That type of diversity within that union is probably not going to lead to good outcomes. Islam may contain many adherents that are perfectly lovely. But does Islam contain tenets that are perfectly incongruent with Western liberties? Nothing could be clearer. We don't need this kind of diversity.
It's very hard to screen those Muslims out. I mean, you can't just screen away people like that. I mean, they can radicalize, they can self-radicalize, they can hide from Customs and Border Patrol agents their true intentions. I mean, what is the solution?
I don't like the term they can get radicalized. It's as though that's outside the religion, right? There is no Islamism. There is no radical, violent, extremist militantism, right? You don't just add a bunch of isms and a bunch of qualifiers so that you can hallucinate about it being different from Islam. Islam is a codified set of ideas. If I choose to ignore much of it, I will be peaceful. If I choose to take it seriously, I won't be peaceful.
Damn! Oh my God, he's shredding him.
So it's not radicalization. Bro. It's simply whether I adhere to the tenets of the faith or I don't. And so to your point, you could never vet someone because these are people who the father had been there since the 90s. The son was born there. So certainly from any vetting perspective, you would think they're well acclimatized to Western liberties. And it just takes one trigger and off we go.
Damn. Whew. Yeah, no, that was a good clip, chat. No, that's where we're at. Deport bad people, I guess. It's not enough, man. It's not enough. Like, I feel like the orcs are already in the Shire. We need to figure out what to do, man.
And culture, you may ask. Well, just being a fucking good human being. Let's just call it that. How about we just do that? Why do we block Bonnie Blue, Kanye West, Candace Owens, all these people from coming, but we let these fucking mental, violent grubs into our country all the fucking time? Novak Djokovic, for fuck's sake. He was deported because of his
didn't want to get
vaccine
COVID
status.
Yeah, didn't want to get vaxxed.
But we'll let other people into this country. Not all of them are brown Muslims, okay? The Christchurch massacre guy, he was a white Australian. We need to be on top of these fucking grubs. But also, what we don't need is more laws and more power going to police. And I know that may sound a little bit hypocritical of what I'm saying, perhaps even an oxymoron. And I say this because Suzanne Lee...
Nah, dude, it's not an oxymoron. You know what we need to do? Well, you know what Australia needs to do? Pray. They need to pray a lot. They need to get incredibly religious, all right? They need to start praying and recognizing that God is great. They need to. Immediately! Start praying to the Lord. That's what you need to do in Australia, man. Oh, God. Bro. Obviously, stop all third world immigration, but that is the basics. That is the slowest basics. Oh, my God.
The opposition leader here in Australia, she came out today and said that we need more powers, we need more laws. And ladies and gentlemen, that is dangerous.
Yeah, of course.
That's what the Americans...
That's literally what they're doing. They need new laws to enforce their current laws? What are we doing?
Did after 9/11. That's what Australia did after Port Arthur. And if they do that after this, you may see a huge drop in personal freedoms. And that is a problem. People in government act, and they may even do it in good intentions, but they act after tragedies, and then you're stuck with those laws forever. I want to give a quick shout out to the hero of the day, this guy right here.
Yeah, this guy's the go.
He's now in hospital. Recovering. Apparently he's okay. There's a massive GoFundMe campaign happening at the moment. They're looking to raise $300,000 for him. He had the balls to run over and try and stop someone, the father, from continuing to harvest people in the most evil way, brutally murder people. And so thank you to him. Now, a lot of people are saying this guy's a Christian, this guy's a Muslim. Doesn't matter. He's a man. He's an Australian. And if he's not born in Australia, if he wasn't born in Australia, then that is exactly what I'm talking about. These are the type of people we want in this country that would risk.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. And people were showing this. So his wife came to visit him. Aw, with like this photo over here. But this is an edited version of the Israeli embassy's post of Ambassador Maimon visiting this Arsen Ostrovsky after the Bondi attack. Yeah, so this is an edited photo, obviously. As you can see, they specifically covered her little, like, Jew pin thing. So you know, the reality is that's what we do. This guy, they were celebrating him. I'm pretty sure a couple of these people from the Chabad community, the Jewish community that was shot at, they raised over $1 million for this guy. They went to cheer him up and stuff. Like, again, it's wild, bro.
Their own lives to save strangers.
He's a Muslim
Doesn't matter what his religion is. Doesn't matter where he's from. Doesn't matter.
But you know what? Are you ready? You ready to freak out that this is even real? Hold up, let me find this for you. Holy shit. Are you ready to lose your mind? Ahmed al-Ahmed, the Syrian-Australian hero who tackled the terrorist gunman and saved the lives of Jews at Bondi, is being attacked in the Arab world as a traitor and mercenary. Can you even believe this is real? Could you believe this is real life? The Muslim world, all right, apparently, is attacking this guy for stopping the terrorists from killing more Jews. What? Dude, what? It's crazy. It's actually crazy.
No matter how Arabic his name is. We want these people. These are the good Australians, or Australians in training, or Australians in the future, or whatever. If you're white, brown, black, whatever you are, you're welcome in this country if you are a good human being. End of.
Yeah, if you'll actually assimilate into Australian culture and not try your best to subvert Australian culture into your own.
Oh, fuck. Matilda. She was shot and killed.
What a nightmare.
This little 10-year-old. That's fucked. 2 police officers are in critical condition.
Terrible.
And maybe that's why the police officers were acting in the way they did. They just saw 2 of their colleagues they just spent the day with walking around Bondi Beach. One of the coppers was shot in the face. And I know that police officers are there to serve and protect, but they're people. They have normal days up until the time they go to work. Yeah, crazy. Now, of course, with these type of events comes the far left lunatics who come out and say shit like this. This is Jane Caro, and she says...
Yeah, before Jane Caro, a lot of you are unaware of this probably. So this is a Jewish business in Bondi, all right? Locks in a Box. It's a little, like, bagel store or whatever. And this is the comment section, all right? Mohammed says 1 star. Mohammed says 1 star. Imran Mod says 1 star. Mohammed says 1 star. And essentially, they started review bombing Jewish businesses everywhere, dropping horrible reviews literally on all the Jewish businesses around. But this is just obviously because they're Zionists, probably. It's pretty insane. And, you know, the owner of this store was like, I went to bed heartbroken, completely devastated, couldn't sleep, I stayed up all night, what we could do. Like, dude, it's wild. Australia's so cooked, bro.
It's the guns. Horrified that this awful hate-filled racist violence has returned to Australia after 3 decades. Tighten restrictions now. You are fucking off your head if you think it's the guns. And maybe I'm wrong. I wish that I could have a weapon, like a concealed carry or something.
Yeah, well, you can't, because you're in Australia and you're cucked and you're controlled by a tyrannical regime.
That's what I love about America is you can have a gun.
Yeah.
You can defend yourself.
Yeah, America's
this shit happens.
America's the last bastion of freedom, like in the Western world. It's kind of terrifying, honestly.
Do something. Because all of these poor people, no one could, like, and don't get me wrong, I understand that if everyone's got guns and these events could happen more, I understand that. But I think if you're a bad enough human being to want to do something like this, you will just murder people somehow. You'll do it with a car, you'll do it with a knife, you'll do it with a gun if you can get one. At least if you have your own weapon, you can defend your family, for fuck's sake. And I think this is why... Like, the Bondi stabbing was very bad too, because I go to the shops. We all go to the mall, the shops, right? And if you don't know what happened there, this guy just walked around indiscriminately just stabbing people. It was horrific.
I wonder what he was, what ethnicity he was. He was probably a white Christian male.
But I feel like just being at the beach, it's such a relaxing place. Like, you're supposed to be there just chilling out. You have those memories walking back to the car through the sand. It's hot. Oh, you know what we should get? We should get an ice block on the way home, whatever. And then there's just fucking some psycho firing at you.
Yeah, no. The Australians are actually crashing out. Dude, this is Drew Pavlo. He's an Australian guy. Inbred jihadists imported 20 years ago, attempting to purge a community that's been part of Australia since the First Fleet. There were Jews on the First Fleet, and Australia's first synagogue was built in the 1840s. Our greatest ever military general was Jewish, General John Monash, one of the great generals of World War I. Jews were a part of Australian nation, whereas the inbred jihadists, like the Bondi terrorists, are not. A foreign fifth column within Australia is attempting to purge people who've been in Australia for 250 years. People who were right there at the national founding. Bro, it's wild. What a wild situation. So yeah, so Australia's cooked. Australia's cooked. So we all knew this, but this is just another example of Australia being cooked. And you want to know the funny part? You want to know the really funny part? The funny part that a lot of you are unaware of, that probably is just completely true, that no one wants to talk about due to fear of getting canceled or imprisoned. This is only the beginning. This is only the beginning. It's literally only the beginning. Like this was not, in my opinion, not an authorized attack. In my opinion, these were just a couple of very religious people that wanted their place in heaven ASAP. So they wanted to go ahead and do something like this. But the shock that you're all going to be experiencing eventually is, at some point, they're not just going to be a vocal minority. At some point, they're going to be a large minority. And at some point, they're even going to be a majority. Because while people in the West are being trained by our leftist overlords to not get married, not have children, abort our babies, and castrate children, while that's going on, we are importing people that have 8 children each that are literally inbred retards, radicals that want us dead. So the crazy thing is, no, obviously not every Muslim wants to kill us. However, every Muslim that is religious wants to be governed by Sharia law. Every single Muslim wants Sharia law. All of them. Every single one. Without exception. That's just a fact. If you don't want Sharia law, then you're not a religious Muslim. That is literally the criteria. So the reality is, at some point, it's gonna be a thing where, it's gonna be too late. At some point, it's gonna be too late. Or not. Or they'll assimilate and create a multicultural paradise. Guess time will tell. Bye. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.